everyone, and thank you for joining us. In our session today, we are talking about the path to Guidewire Cloud for existing self-managed customers. I'm joined by my colleagues Blair Pyle and Mike Laconico, and we're going to talk about what this path entails and answer some of the more common questions that we're getting around these upgrades to Guidewire Cloud. So without further ado, let's get to it. Blair, you, Mike, and I are all part of the cloud transition practice here at Guidewire. This is a team that we formed at the beginning of the year that is focused on taking existing self-managed customers to Guidewire Cloud. Do you want to elaborate on how we're approaching this?
The cloud transition practice is actually made up of two teams. Our Center of Excellence for Upgrades, which has been doing upgrades for Guidewire for over 8 years, and the data migration team, led by yours truly. We're utilizing these teams' breadth of experience to help our customers go to the cloud successfully. We're doing this really through three lenses. The first is the upgrade path. What this really means is we need to look at the customer's existing implementation and see what different product versions they're on. Maybe they're on Billing Center 7 and maybe Policy Center 9. We need to make sure that we have a clearly defined path for the customer to get to the cloud. The second lens is about the upgrade effort. The Upgrade Center of Excellence has been doing upgrades for a long time, and we're constantly improving our processes and trying to make them more efficient. We're doing this by developing new tooling, reducing the cost and effort to do an upgrade, and to reduce the time it takes as well. The last lens is the execution of the upgrade. A lot of our customers and partners have done upgrades. They don't necessarily need Guidewire to help them. So we need to ensure that our partner ecosystem is enabled to perform the upgrade and to enable our customers to get to the cloud.
Thank you, Blair. Mike, let's start with the transition paths. Blair mentioned that our customers have different combinations of our products and they're on different versions. So with that in mind, do we have a set of standard approaches for how our customers should go to Guidewire Cloud?
There's definitely a set of standard approaches on how we recommend customers moving to Guidewire Cloud. Let's start with the most basic one, and one that our customers are probably very familiar with, and that is a greenfield first implementation. What does that mean? That means you're implementing a new line of business on Guidewire Cloud that does not exist on your InsuranceSuite self-managed. Why would you do that? It's a good way for you to feel out the software development lifecycle for cloud projects. It's a good way for you to test out cloud native features and see how that works. But I think most importantly, it's a way for you to experience cloud updates. And for those of you who have done major version upgrades in self-managed or have heard about them, it's a good way for you to compare and contrast what that's like to how your experience is going to be for cloud updates. That doesn't really answer the question of how you manage to move your existing book of business into cloud. And for those, there are three approaches. The first one is to move all of InsuranceSuite at the same time. This approach is perfect for customers on InsuranceSuite version 9, and certainly for those on version 10. That should be your starting point. The second approach is Policy Center, Billing Center first, followed by Claim Center second. And the third approach is Claim Center first, followed by Policy Center, Billing Center second. You're probably wondering, what happens to data and digital? Well, data and digital follow the upgrade path based on which core system is moving to Guidewire Cloud. So those are pretty much self-determined already. Maybe you have low downtime requirements for your shop. Maybe you're a 24/7 shop and you can't be down for deployment weekend for that long. We've got answers for those as well. It is going to be part of project work, and we can certainly implement a low downtime solution for you. What about folks who have, none of these options I've given you fit? Maybe you need a custom solution. Some examples of custom solutions are upgrading one InsuranceSuite application at a time. Or maybe you've got multiple instances of the same app. Maybe you've got multiple claim centers and you want to consolidate them on the way to Guidewire Cloud. And we've certainly got approaches for those as well.
So it sounds like customers might have a few different options that they can choose from. How do we help them determine which one is the right one for them?
It's based on a couple of factors. First is the installed base of applications you've got in production. You've got InsuranceSuite, you've got data products, you've got our digital products. What versions are those products on? Are they on version 9 or 10? Are they on version 8 or before? What is your load downtime requirements? Everybody wants to have a low deployment weekend to be down for a shorter period of time as possible. But what are we really required to fulfill? right? Is it, not be down for longer than 4 hours, or is it 12 or 24? You have to separate the want from the must-haves there. And I think the last bit is your appetite for change management. Having to do all of InsuranceSuite at one time is different than doing one application at a time. Now, to say, we're not going to hand over a menu and say, hey, pick from these 8 things and then good luck and let us know what you want to do, right? The idea is that we would find what that right path for you would be. And the way to do that is through a cloud readiness workshop or a CRW.
Let's dig into that CRW a little more. Blair, can you elaborate on what a cloud readiness workshop is?
So our cloud readiness workshops, or also our cloud transition assessments, are processes we follow to get a very clear picture of the customer's implementation. During a CRW, we're going to take a deep dive into the code and check it against our cloud standards. We're also going to review the customer's infrastructure and see what they're using. So are they using Oracle or SQL Server, and what size is the database? And lastly, we actually look at the transition path. As Mike previously mentioned, we're going to have a pretty good idea of which path we're going to take for that customer by the end of these workshops.
So Mike, let's say that we've determined the right path for the customer, and then we've done the CRW and we've done the CTA, so we have a good understanding of what is in the customer's implementation and what this cloud upgrade will entail. Can you walk us through what actually happens during the upgrade project?
Well, the good news is a cloud upgrade versus a self-managed upgrade are very similar. We first start with merging of the configuration to the latest version of the cloud instance. So the merge steps and the merge tools are the same as in self-managed. The next bit is with upgrading of integrations. This is where we take a little bit of a turn. So for a self-managed upgrade, maybe you're compiling against a new version of some Java libraries or calling a new web service. That's still the same for cloud, but there's another additional step to it. With cloud, there's a set of cloud standards that we evaluate your integrations and configuration against, and we ask you to follow them. These are cloud-specific design patterns that we want you to follow. There's also SurePath content that we may ask you to implement. So that's a little bit different than what you're used to from the self-managed world. And the last bit is the transmission of your databases from the self-managed world into Guidewire Cloud and making sure that the data in those databases upgrade successfully. Because we want to be able to test those two things. We want to be able to test that the transmission times are low enough so that we can meet your deployment weekend requirements, and that the data is able to be tested for both existing data and new data on your upgraded cloud environment.
Okay, thanks, Mike. So by the end of the upgrade project, we've upgraded the configuration to that of the latest cloud release, and we've adopted the cloud standards, and we've tested out the production data upgrade. So we have pretty good confidence that all the parts are in place and that this upgrade is going to be successful. Blair, do you want to tell us what Go Live deployment weekend looks like?
So on Go Live weekend, the first step will be to get the customer database up to the cloud. So there'll be a backup, a transmission, and a restore. Depending on the size of the database, that could take a few hours. Once that is complete, the upgrade process will execute. And again, depending on the size of the database, that could also take a few hours. And then once that is complete, there'll be a smoke test performed by the customer, and you'll go live. However, the cloud upgrade or the cloud transition won't be considered complete until a follow-on maintenance release occurs, which is where we actually convert the database from Oracle or SQL Server to Aurora Postgres.
Okay, so overall, how long should our customers expect deployment weekend to be?
Customers can expect that it would be like a typical major upgrade. So that is usually a weekend, 48 hours. It could be less. It really does depend on the size of the database. The follow-on maintenance release will be fairly low downtime. It would be that of maybe just a regular maintenance release. Maybe you made some config changes or something, and you go down for a few hours or something.
Okay, Mike, I'm going to come back to you. So based on what Blair just described, it sounds like it's actually a one-step upgrade to Guidewire Cloud. Is this something that is only available to InsuranceSuite 10 customers, or can customers who are on versions prior to InsuranceSuite 10 also take advantage of this direct upgrade to Guidewire Cloud?
When we first started, there was going to be a required step that everyone needed to get to InsuranceSuite 10 before getting to Guidewire Cloud. But we looked at our customer landscape, and a lot of our customers on version 8 and version 9. So we worked really hard to figure a direct path that would make it less complicated on how to get from version 8 all the way through InsuranceSuite Cloud. And that's where we are today. So today, Insurance Suite 8 and 9 customers do not have to stop on Insurance Suite 10 before they get to cloud. However, that direct path is not going to be there forever, right? There's going to be some dates coming up in the next couple of years where the third-party support that Insurance Suite 8 runs on is going to run out. And it doesn't make too much sense to kind of keep this direct path going when all of the underlying support for Insurance Suite 8 won't be around anymore. So I would say today, there is absolutely a direct path from Insurance Suite 8 and 9 to Guidewire Cloud, but it won't be there forever.
Can you elaborate a little more on the support days? So what should our customers be aware of and keep in mind as they're thinking about when they want to upgrade to Guidewire Cloud?
By July 2022, the versions of Oracle, SQL Server, and Java that Insurance Suite is running on will reach end of life. So our Insurance Suite 8 customers need to make that consideration, because the only way you can get Insurance Suite on a supported platform is to do an upgrade. So those IS 8 customers need to consider whether they're going to upgrade to Insurance Suite 10 or move to Guidewire Cloud within the next couple of years. However, our Insurance Suite 9 and 10 customers have a little bit more runway. And so moving to cloud for them is going to really be determined by their readiness for moving to cloud.
So Mike mentioned that our Insurance Suite 8 customers, when it comes to an upgrade, actually have two choices. They can go to Insurance Suite 10 self-managed, or they can go directly to cloud. Blair, what are some considerations that our customers should take into account as they're trying to make this decision?
So back in May, Guidewire released Aspen and also introduced our cloud-first product strategy. So what that means is our cloud versions of the Insurance Suite or self-managed versions will have actually different features. So if customers go to the cloud today, they can immediately take advantage of the cloud features. If they wait, they'll need to do another upgrade in the future when they go to the cloud.
Okay, that makes sense. So speaking of the cloud native features though, how does that work? After a customer gets on Guidewire Cloud, how are they able to adopt those new features?
The upgrade to the cloud is really just a technical upgrade. The customer's configuration, by and large, will continue to work as it has in the self-managed environment. The cloud-native features that are available in the cloud release will be turned off by default. This allows our customers to determine when and which cloud features they want to take advantage of. So in order to turn them on, there'll have to be some additional project work when they're ready.
We have heard from some customers that they want to go to Guidewire Cloud, but that from a roadmap perspective, it's probably not for another 18 to 24 months out for them. So Mike, are there things that these customers can do now to start preparing for the move to Guidewire Cloud?
Customers should definitely take us up on a cloud readiness evaluation and follow the recommendations that come out of that cloud readiness evaluation. Some of the things that may come out of there are database consistency checks issues. I think that may scare some of our customers when they hear that, because back in the old days, we would say you have to fix everything. That's no longer the case. We've become much more prescriptive on the way to cloud, and for self-managed too. So please do look out for that white paper on database consistency checks and the way to cloud. Another way of doing it are looking at SurePath content when you're developing new configuration or integrations, since those are going to be cloud ready as well. And the last bit and most important one for all customers really is to follow our minor and maintenance release adoption policy. So for customers on self-managed, that basically means taking an update once every year so that you can stay on our latest and greatest of our self-managed products.
That's a really good point about staying up to date. And it makes sense that we want our self-managed customers to do so they have an easier transition to Guidewire Cloud. Mike had mentioned earlier in one of his answers comparing the cloud updates versus upgrades for self-managed customers. Blair, can you tell us what cloud updates look like and how our cloud customers will stay up to date on the latest releases?
Going forward, Guidewire will be releasing 2 versions of the Insurance Suite a year. This applies to both cloud and self-managed customers. The difference here is cloud customers will be upgraded by us, by Guidewire. This will allow them to take advantage of new features and innovate a lot quicker than their self-managed counterparts.
All right, I think that's all our questions for today. So thank you, Mike and Blair, for joining me. We're excited to take our existing customers to the cloud so that you can more quickly start to engage, innovate, and grow efficiently. We hope that this session has helped to demystify some of what that path to Guidewire Cloud looks like. To learn more about our Guidewire Cloud platform, be sure to check out tomorrow's session with Gal Josephberg and Matt Sigmund. It's called Guidewire Cloud Platform, optimized for property and casualty. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.